Good morning. We're kicking off Waterpalooza 23 with a conversation with Chair John L. Varela, who's a chair of the Valley Water Board of Directors, representing District 1. And that's the southern part of Santa Clara County. We'll get the chair to talk about that and a whole bunch of other things. So welcome today.
Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate the opportunity to be in front of you and participate in this wonderful opportunity to share some history about Valley Water with Waterpalooza. So for those of you who don't know, Valley Water is the single largest multi-purpose supply, watershed stewardship, and flood management special district in the state of California. We provide safe, clean water, flood protection, and stewardship of streams in Santa Clara County's 2 million residents. We manage 10 dams and reservoirs, 3 water treatment plants, an advanced water recycled purification center, a state-of-the-art water laboratory, nearly 400 acres of groundwater recharge, and more than 294 miles of streams, and a partridge and a pear tree. So we provide wholesale water and groundwater management services to municipalities and retailers who deliver drinking water directly to homes and businesses in the Santa Clara County region. So that gives you a little bit of who we are and what our history is.
Well, actually, speaking of history, if you wouldn't mind going into that a little bit about the origins.
Yeah, absolutely. So Valley Water was created through community action. In the early days, there were concerns over land subsidence, which led farmers and business leaders to push for formation of the Santa Clara Valley Water Conservation Committee, going back to the 1920s. At that time, groundwater supplies were being overpumped, causing the aquifer to collapse and land on top of it to sink. That's a vision you can possibly imagine. It's happening at some point currently. That led to the formation of Santa Clara Valley Water Conservation District in 1929. And over almost 100 years, it has merged with smaller water flood control districts to become what we call today the Santa Clara Valley Water District, otherwise now known as Valley Water. So that's kind of our genesis as to how we began.
Now, first and foremost, obviously, everyone living around here experienced the winter, this past winter, which was quite a wet winter in an area actually kind of built for drought. It's looking like we'll have, chances are, probably an El Nino pattern, wet winter, warm winter. But we live in almost in a state of constant drought. And so I wondered if you could talk about keeping the drought mindset.
Absolutely. So coming out of what was considered to be a 5-year drought that we just I guess it was 2022, around this time of the year, NOAA had predicted that we were going to enter into another drought period, which would have put us 6 years into a drought. But of course, we all know what happened in 2022. Mother Nature opened up the skies. We had the atmospheric rivers that came and hit us from late November through the first part of February, which filled our dams and reservoirs. But as we see it, water conservation has to be a way of life for all of us to live by today. That's our new motto and our new trend. So the historic snowpack from this year's snowstorms means we have full water, 100% allocations for this year for the State Water Project and Central Valley Project, which supply 40% of our water supplies. And that's water that we import. This hasn't happened since 2006. In light of the epic snowpack, in April, our board rescinded the water shortage emergency condition calling for 50% mandatory water use to reduction in Santa Clara County. However, in an effort to keep the community's water saving momentum, we called for a 15% voluntary water use reduction. We also adopted a resolution calling for water conservation as a way of life and an ordinance with permanent waterways prohibitions for Santa Clara County. So I do want to make a comment about this because during the past several years, our ratepayers have really learned and understood what it means to conserve water. I think the state set the level at 15%, and we followed suit. But what we discovered in many of the regions that we represent in the district, some regions, specifically in South County, were averaging 16 to 19% conservation levels, which to me tells me that the water users up and down and throughout the county were paying attention. So it's now a way of life, and conservation is here to stay.
Yeah, that's great to hear, and yeah, that's something we do. And I know, like, even just traveling in other parts of the country, well, although now some of these other parts of the country have been experiencing drought, but you know, just like leaving a tap on or something and walking away is like yeah, it just drives one crazy. So the yeah, and obviously you have a lot of programs like the landscape rebate program and a number of other
very
things.
Robust programs, very popular
Yeah.
programs, and we're very proud. In fact, the board recently add additional dollars into that program because people are now removing their lawns, you know, non-essential grass areas, and we have rebates starting at $3,000 for a homeowner, all the way up to 50 to 100,000 for commercial and industrial usage. So, and people are now starting to take advantage of that, and we're very excited about that. So, having a beautiful lawn in your front property is no longer has the same meaning and value. So as it once had.
Yeah, I remember actually I used to have a lot of I was involved in an IT consulting business, and we would have some customers in Central Valley. I won't name them, but I know that, like, at their headquarters, that they were involved in, you know, really a lot of land under cultivation, but in their headquarters they would have these vast lawns because it was, at the time, it was looked as a display of wealth, you know, to have these like really big lawns, you know, leading up to the headquarters and things, and you know, that's changed quite a bit too.
It has changed.
Yeah.
And I think our messaging is captivated. People are now paying attention, as I just referenced. So, and we ask people to take advantage of our incentives. They're there, and that's why they're there.
And I know personally that water sensor technology and different things, different devices are really quite interesting. I mean, you know, that attached to an app on your phone and give you, you really give you a view of where you are. Certainly, it's a leak detection thing, but it's also,
it's really interesting because I live in the city of Morgan Hill, and the city of Morgan Hill is my water provider to my residents in the community, and they have water sensoring devices on every single water meter in the city. So if we are overwatering at any point, I'll get a text message and I'll get an email saying that there's some unusual water usage on your property. You might want to check for a leak, etc. And you can check it, you can respond to it and send it back to the city that you have verified that, hey, yeah, I did have a leak. Thank you for notifying me. And they appreciate that. And so it's technology that's here. I think the city of Milpitas also has the same water metering detection for their water users as well. So, and it's a growing tool. And I think it's really important for water users to ask your water retailer for those kinds of tools that might be added to their property and their water usage metering.
Yeah, we will have a session coming up with Negan Ashuri of Bosca, talking about their AMI report over their 26 constituent members. So yeah, we are doing that. And actually, Cora Snyder of Pacific Institute has an interesting thing about multifamily housing toilet leak detection. Because they have 1 meter, you know, like it might be a 12-story, you know, building. And this is mostly, they've done this mostly in the LA basin, but you know, it's not sub-metered, and because it'd be really expensive to sub-meter. But what they focused on was leaks from toilets. And so they have been able to show almost like 15% water savings versus the previous year's kind of baseline, and mainly just going after the big gorilla of toilet leak detection. Anyway, so those are a couple things coming up about keeping water conservation as a kind of a default state of mind.
Well, we will continue to remind our users.
So yeah, well, let's talk about actually water reuse and recycled water. And
Sure.
obviously, there's Valley Water's been in the forefront in terms of advanced water purification and has the 8 million gallon a day facility in El Viso. But tell us more.
Sure. I think everyone knows that our climate is getting hotter and drier, and droughts are getting more frequent and severe. And that's why Valley Water continues to invest locally in reliable, sustainable, and drought-resistant water supplies, such as recycled and purified water. Recycled water has been treated and disinfected to meet state standards for water requirements. It is used for a variety of non-drinking purposes, such as landscaping, farming, and also businesses like large tech companies we have here in Silicon Valley. Using recycled water helps conserve our drinking water supplies because it's available even during periods of drought when our other water supplies are very low. So it is something that we look at. Our water purification facility, our advanced water purification facility is continuing to produce water. We're not yet, state has not yet permitted us to add it to the potable water uses, but it can be used for other purposes, as I mentioned. There are other regions in the state of California. There were water purification, like in Orange County, in that region, is now being put into their groundwater and being used. So we anticipate that will happen in the near future. So that is a reliable, sustainable water supply for us as we continue to be in droughts, as we referenced earlier. So yes, water recycling is a way of life for Valley Water, and we're expanding our usage. We're looking to add facilities in the Palo Alto region, Mountain View region as well, and with pipelines extended down into the Los Gatos area and also into the southern part of the county that I represent, District 1, which would be in the southern part of the county, Morgan Hill, unincorporated area of San Martin, and the city of Gilroy. So very much a part of our pro forma is recycled water.
Is there anything at this point? I know there's been a lot of discussions and planning and things with I guess both the city of San Jose and with Palo Alto, Mountain View. Any comments you'd like to make on the status? I mean,
we're constantly meeting with the decision makers, both the city of San Jose and the decision makers in Palo Alto and also in Mountain View. There are cost issues, as there are with all these projects. These are major projects. So we're working towards collaboration to determine best way to move forward with these projects. And we are. And we're sitting at the table with each of these, the cities, and with also partner bringing the county in on these discussions. So all the electeds are very aware of what's going on. And, we continue to have these meetings also in South County. We're having these meetings with the cities of Morgan Hill and city of Gilroy, what I represent. So, but it's ongoing, and this is something that we're going to continue to work towards.
Yes, actually, I did want to just talk about District 1 a little bit here. Obviously, sure. Morgan Hill and Gilroy, are major areas of growth. And I know Morgan Hill, I think it was Morgan Hill way back when. I mean, this was more about I guess sewage capacity and things, but they had a building moratorium because of that. This is way back when, but
yeah. Well, I moved here in 1977, and the year after, I think it was late 77, early 78. There was a moratorium because we had a sewage spill. One of our, I guess, sewage pipes broke, and we had effluent coming up above ground, and we had to put a moratorium on building and development until we increased our capacity for sewage maintenance. Subsequent to that, we built the state-of-the-art Santa Clara Valley water treatment facility in Gilroy with a partnership with Gilroy and Morgan Hill. So all sewage now goes there for treatment. And we're also looking at that facility to add effluent to our proposed water purification proposed program in the future. So yeah, that was a difficult time back in that era, but we resolved that. The decision makers were able to find a solution, and we're looking good at this particular time on that.
Yeah, great. Apparently, there's a ribbon cutting ceremony coming up in October for the pipeline.
Yeah, everything is. We love ribbon cutting. It's a great thing. That means we've accomplished and we're making progress and we're doing forward. So the water pipeline has been on the books now for quite some time, and we're also all very encouraged about what it's going to do, the impact in the city of Gilroy, and again through the South County region, and this will allow water usage. Currently, we're using potable water for industrial purposes, etc. Now we'll have recycled water that we can use that for those purposes for lawns, irrigation, for school districts, etc. So it's a major program and major progress that we're making.
I do
at one point.
Oh,
I
yeah,
want to talk about a diversity, equity, and inclusion program that we are working on for a water workforce. Would this be a good time to do that?
Sure. I was going to ask you about Rinconada, but anyway, but sure, go ahead on the DEI efforts.
Yeah. So Valley Water has a READY program, racial equity, diversity, inclusion. It's kind of like we have directors that sit on that. I sat on it at one point, and we have a committee. We have programs. Our next gen water career path education program is absolutely one of the best that I'm familiar with. We have sponsored programs at Gavilan College in Gilroy and other colleges throughout the region. And we have our interns. We have over 50 interns that come into Valley Water and work alongside our staff, our professionals in many capacities. They're learning. These are our high school, community college, and CSU students that we bring in. We have over 50 interns currently that are going through our program, and they'll be here for a year and they'll learn and understand. Some of them will go on to universities and higher education and maybe study more into the sciences of water. But then there are those that will have gone through the program and are very interested in wanting to come into either some of the water treatment facilities that we have, environmental programs that we offer, and some of these students will be offered a job or will apply for a job. So we're really excited about that. And I also sit on a state water agency called ACWA, Association of California Water Agencies. And last November, we created a new foundation, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Foundation. And the foundation is pretty much designed to raise funds to offer the programs that I just referenced that Valley Water is doing throughout the 450 members water supply, water irrigation districts throughout the state of California, from San Diego to the Mexican border to the Oregon border. And so we are going to be offering tuition, scholarships, etc., to students that live in challenged communities, as we do here. Kids that ordinarily may not have the opportunity to apply for grants or scholarships. We'll be focusing our time and attention for everybody to apply, but looking for those STAR students that are living in regions that ordinarily you just don't look for people, the students in those particular communities throughout the Central Valley, throughout the southern part of the state. So we're really excited about that program, and I happen to be chair of the board of trustees of that organization as well. So Diversity, Equity, Inclusion is our water workforce for our future, our water career path education program, and we're extremely proud of what we're doing, bringing in young students, teaching them about water, and hopefully they'll have a career in the water industry soon. So I just wanted to touch base on diversity, equity, inclusion is so important part of our values program at Valley Water, and now through the ACWA Education DEI Foundation.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, we've really tried at SSV, we really tried to champion what I was calling both the green and aqua collar jobs
Yeah.
as well. And so that's really good to hear. I think we at this point should have a bit of a tour through water supply projects. The big Magilla is obviously Anderson Dam. And it's unfortunate with the timing and everything that Anderson Dam actually, I guess, even with the rains, got filled a little bit after it was emptied, and but it's too bad it couldn't take advantage of the windfall or the waterfall of water this past winter. But why don't we start with the seismic retrofit project?
Absolutely. So this is a project that was on the books back in 2012. Before I was on the board, we had funds to get ready for that until the state seismic, I'm trying to remember all these different acronyms for all these different groups. Anyway, they discovered the fault line at the face of Anderson Dam.
Was that FERC?
No, that's the second one.
Oh, okay.
That's the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission.
Which
they monitor the outlet because they have a energy supply on that. Again, names are escaping me for whatever reason at this particular moment. But so we're in the middle of redoing the tunnel now. That's the first phase of the seismic retrofit project with Anderson. And we've been conducting tours of the work that we're doing and the progress that we've been making on that. And it's quite a restructuring of that facility. And then once that project is completed, which will be estimated 4 to 5 years out from today's date, then we will lower the face of the dam. And interesting, the material that we take down won't be removed from the area. It'll be put into use the term reservoir, a storage facility to be repurposed. We will be bringing material in, but not taking any material out. Once we repair the dam and retrofit it, that project is going to take 7 to 8 years. So ultimately, Anderson, our single largest reservoir in the state and in the county, will be down for 8 to 10 years. So that's kind of a quick update on what's happening with Anderson Reservoir at this particular time.
I see where there just in our notes here there was talk while Anderson is down, placing a lot of imported water underground for recharge. And I just wondered about the kind of scale of that, because we talked about Anderson as 89,000 acre feet. And there was also part of the notes that fun fact, you can put all the other county storage facilities inside that number.
That's very true. Yeah. So we import water. We import water from the Central Valley. We have a storage in the southern part of the state, in semi-tropic, which is near Bakersfield, where we actually store water. We bank water there. But during drought times, during seasons that we just had recently, we actually purchase water. And much of our water comes through the Delta from the snowpack. And we import about 50% of our overall water from the valley, from that region, and pipe it over into San Luis Reservoir, down into the San Felipe pipeline, all the way up into the pipeline to the southern part of the county, into our water treatment facilities. And also some of that water gets into our groundwater through our percolation ponds, etc. So we're very dependent on that water. And during the drought, water prices were skyrocketing what we were paying for water. At one point, we paid anywhere from $600 to $700 an acre foot. Prices went up. We were paying close to $1,900 an acre foot that we were importing water from at the peak of the drought last year. So water storage is very much part of our model, our plan. Of course, we're looking at a new dam reservoir that we're in the process of going through a CEQA permitting processes, Pacheco Reservoir off of Highway 152. When you mentioned Anderson is 90,000 acre feet, this dam will be approximately 120 to 130,000 acre feet, almost twice the size of Anderson. But that project is, again, most of these projects are 10, 12, 15 years out. So, but that's on the record now, and we're going through our CEQA permitting process on that. And those are the projects we have currently that we're spending an inordinate amount of our resources, our money, and our time to develop those retrofitting the dam and building a new dam.
And just for people scoring at home, on the Pacheco expansion, that is an expansion from I believe like 5,500 acre feet to
there's
130, 140. So that's a significant planned expansion.
That wasn't. Yes, you're right. So we're looking at currently that water reservoir that exists there was built in the turn of the century. And if you looked at the region back at that timeline, the population was mostly farms, agriculture, cattle ranching. So there wasn't the huge water supply necessary back in those days, even when Anderson was built in the 1950s. If you stand up and looked over the horizon, looking down at that timeline, all you saw was orchards, farms, cattle ranches, horse ranches, etc. And now you stand on the ridge and you look across and you see rooftops. So things have emerged, and the population of Santa Clara County has grown. So water is very much in need, and we supply the water to, as I said, approximately 2 million people currently in the valley.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the valley of earthly delights, or
Valley of Heart's Delight.
Heart's Delight. Yes,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we. I like to say this. So back in that timeline, we called Santa Clara County the Valley of Heart's Delight, and in the mid 1970s, we went from processing apricot chips to silicon chips. The emergence from Santa Clara Valley to Silicon Valley.
I gave my mother-in-law, who was a very strong Santa Clara supporter, the city of Santa Clara supporter, and I gave her this picture. It was an Ansel Adams photo. Of Santa Clara Valley. I think it was like late 50s, and it was orchards. It was I think it was like cherry blossom time, it was like, and so it was a really interesting, it's obviously one of the lesser known Ansel Adams, but I just thought it was really very descriptive of the valley at one time, and that was hung in a place of prominence in her house.
Perhaps he was the one that coined the phrase "Valley of Heart's Delight." I don't know.
Yeah. You mentioned the semi-tropic facility, and apparently Valley Water has about a third of a share of that facility. So I mean, a sizable stake, and as part of the bank portfolio. I also just wanted to maybe quickly get into up from Pacheco, up the road from Pacheco is the San Luis Dam, or the San Luis Reservoir. That's where Valley. What I don't understand is, I mean, I think it's about a 2 million acre foot reservoir.
I don't know the exact.
It's very large.
It's huge. Yeah, I mean, it serves quite a few. We were there recently for a second groundbreaking. The first groundbreaking was in the 1960. I think it was 62, 61, 62.
Oh, that's a famous one.
And President John F. Kennedy was there, along with the first Governor Brown at that time, to do the groundbreaking for the San Luis Reservoir. Now, we were there last year for the groundbreaking of the rise. They're going to raise the dam up. I don't have the actual number, about 60 feet, I believe, around. And it's again, I may not have these numbers correct, but we were there for the groundbreaking ceremony of that as well. So that is a primary valuable resource for water storage for the Central Valley and for Valley Water and for the Central Coast. So regions from as far as south as Santa Barbara depend on that. Throughout the Central Coast will depend on the water for their particular locations. Farmers and irrigation districts also, and we have Valley Water also have water there that we, as I mentioned, that we bring in from the Central Valley, store there, and pipe it into Santa Clara County. So it's an absolute vital resource of water supply for everybody in Central and Northern California and our region.
Yeah. And I see recently that that expansion, there's significant funding just announced, maybe within the last month from, I think it's from the Inflation Reduction Act or just one of the federal bills. That's certainly good. And the scale is of just that additional storage is on the order of 130, 140,000 acre feet as well.
It's huge.
So,
I mean, it's vast. When you drive over 152 going towards Highway 5, if you're going north or south to Southern Cal or Northern Cal, you know, during the drought years, when, you know, I attend meetings in the Central Valley of Los Banos, and when we were driving over, it's like, my God, you know, it almost got to the point where we were looking at the surface crust of the lower part of the dam. And then the storms hit in November, and you drive through there now, and it's spectacularly full with water at this point. So, you know, again, I repeat, this is California. We have unique weather.
So, Chair John L. Varela, thank you so much for coming by and giving us an update. For people that wonder what the L stands for, they can look up the Waterpalooza session from last year, actually. So I'll leave you in thinking about that. Anyway, thanks for giving us an update on all the varied things involving Valley Water, and just appreciate your coming by.
Thank you, Dennis. For all of us at Valley Water Board of Directors, our entire 850 plus, close to 900 staff members and people that spend their time working for Valley Water, and for the public, thank you for the opportunity to be with you today. Most appreciative.
Great.